Hello, Nathan Cox here. Okay, I've got a drywall patching tip here. I'm going to cover two things. Alright, one, a little bit of prep, and then two, how to apply the tape. So right now you can see I've already got the new piece of drywall in place. This is obviously a larger patch. It required actually cutting out the sheetrock, put a new piece up. After you've done that, you need to make sure whether a lot of times I do it before I put the new piece in because I don't want to tear the new piece up. But you're going to want to sand. You see out here, you can see the texture change. Just about any kind of ceiling has got texture on it. Now your walls, some walls may be textured, other walls what we call smooth wall. Alright, so you're not going to, if you have a smooth wall, you get to skip a step here. But don't jump for joy too fast because it means it's going to require a little bit more work for you in the end. But you're going to want probably at least 8 inches out in all directions from where your seams are. That's going to be sanded fairly smooth because when you're going to take your knife across it, you don't want the knife sitting there shuddering as it goes across all the bumps. Plus, you're going to have to fill in the mud, and that's going to be fairly smooth. So, I've got this sanded, sheetrock's in place. Those are the first steps of preparation. Then you're going to apply your tape. Now, here's a big debate. People are going to ask me about what tape to use. You got your traditional paper drywall tape. Most of you probably have seen this. And then you have your newer fiberglass mesh tape. A lot of you are jumping up out of your seats right now and they're like, I know that mesh tape, I love that stuff. Let me tell you something right now, this stuff sucks. That's right, don't use it. I know a lot of you are just freaking out because you're like, I've used it before, I love it, it's easier than that paper tape. The guy at the hardware store told me about it, he was right. Well, let me explain why, alright, before you guys freak out on me. And for those of you this is news, please listen up because you will have a lot of people at the hardware store, a lot of people at the lumberyard take you right to this fiberglass stuff. Never, never buy it. I know you're like, well, why is it sold? Well, it's sold because people are buying it. That's as simple as that. It was not created for standard residential sheetrock as we know it. To my knowledge, this was created actually on the West Coast for a commercially developed drywall product. And had some kind of overlapping edges. It was not your standard blank sheet of drywall that this was designed to go with. But people seem to flock like this, like flies to, to a rotting piece of, dung. This stuff here, let me explain what it is. It's just a very loosely knit mesh tape. It says right here on it, it says self-adhesive. That's true. You peel this off and stick it right up there. That's why most of you probably like it. It says fiberglass mesh for stronger joints. Okay, now that can be debatable and because it's pretty much not true at all. The drywall mud, the joints that you put up there does not need added strength. We're not actually forming something, we're not making any structure, we're not making any stone or brick or anything like that. The drywall mud, or the joints compound, is actually just it's topping. It's what they call, using that to top over the sheetrock itself. So the sheetrock is where the strength is for the joint, not the little bit of mud that you skim across the hole, the crack there, the seam. This also applies for settling cracks. Settling cracks and drywall patches are fixed in the same way. I'm going to take one quick step back. If you have a settling crack, whether it's in the ceiling or on the wall, you can get by with a quick fix of taking some painter's caulk, squirting it in there, wiping off the excess with your finger. Now you're still going to see the crack line, but the hole, the gaping hole will be gone. You can paint it and it's really quick, but that's what you get as a quick fix. It's not a proper fix. So this goes the same way whether it's a settling crack or you're doing a patch. Let's go on to the next thing. Eliminates blisters and bubbles. Okay, I guess that part is true. Some of you say, I've used that paper tape before, I put on the mud, put the tape over there, and there was an air bubble in between the two. Well, practice does make perfect, but that is no excuse to use this stuff right here. Let me tell you why. This crack right here that you see in the ceiling where the two pieces of sheetrock meet up, which some people, it's not a joint. You have joints and seams, and it depends on if you have the finished edges of the sheetrock touching each other, raw edges, that's why they're called different things. But right here, you got the joint right there. When you put the mud over it, eventually that mud is going to crack. When the house settles, you know, expands, contracts, it's going to settle and there's going to be a crack down this line. This mesh tape will do nothing. It will not stop that crack from happening. When the crack happens, it will not hide it. That's why this is pointless. If you're going to use this, you honestly might as well use nothing other than the joint compound itself. This does nothing. In traditional paper tape that you see real contractors use, when that crack shows up in that seam, the paper is still covering it. That is why when your house was built, it was used paper tape. Still use paper tape by contractors. That's why a house that's 20 years old sure may have a settling crack if something moved and tore, but you have you have dozens of seams and joints in every room. And you walk around and unless you had water damage, you're not seeing them. If you don't believe me, of everything I just said about this fiberglass tape and how much this is worthless, if you go back a couple of videos, it should be under a playlist I have under contractor and installer shortcuts. Look for what's wrong with this wall, and you'll see what it looks like when someone's used this fiberglass mesh tape, and you can see the crack lines that it does not cover. That yeah, you might have used it, and you might have done it, and it might still look great in your house. Wait till that settles. The cracks will all show up. I promise you. Okay? So those are 2 tips. Making sure your area around the patch is sanded, at least 8 inches out all the way around, and using the correct drywall tape. Okay? I'm not going to go and make this video be much too long if I go and show you actually how to apply that, but you can check out many other videos on how to apply the drywall tape. A lot of times I'll actually show you. You basically just take your putty knife, slap a thin coat of mud across there so it's solid. You don't want patches that are missing the mud. The tape will stick right to the mud. You don't need another adhesive to put in place. And then you just lightly wipe the excess mud off. Not too hard. So I hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. Thanks again.